What's happening, Bills Mafia? Ryan Thomas here once again for another episode of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. This one, of course, your weekly Buffalo Bills post-game show, but this season is extended in comparison to last season. This season gets another week added onto it because the Buffalo Bills have won their first playoff game since 1995 with a nail-biter of a victory against a very game Indianapolis Colts team, winning this one by a score of 27-24. What a game it was. I'll recap all the action for you. I'm still a little bit, my heart is still pounding after that one. That was a great game. As far as the entertainment value, without putting the rooting interest into it, just the entertainment value that this game provided us as Bills fans, this was worth the wait. This was worth the wait, the 25-year-long wait that we waited to witness history. This team in our house winning a playoff game, AFC wildcard round. What a game it was today, 1 o'clock. Much to my chagrin, it was at 1 o'clock, but I was able to catch each and every moment of this game. I was very thankful for that. Heading into the week, I did not think that would be the case due to the fact that, I have something that's called a job, which, we've all been there. Sometimes you got to work, sometimes you don't. I was thinking, man, I was a little bit nervous that I was going to miss this game, but the Bills win a nail-biter, and I got to see every minute of it for better or for worse. This was the first playoff win, as I said, since 1995. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Ryan Thomas. You're tuning into the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I want to remind you guys that this is a show where I want to get interaction from the Bills Mafia members. I want to get interaction from each and every one of you guys that are tuning into the show, guys and gals that are tuning into the show tonight. I've been looking forward to this show all day long, hoping, praying that this would be the show that I would be able to deliver to you guys. This was a great game, but it had its moments, and I'm going to dissect the moments and kind of give you guys a little bit of what to expect heading into next week, no matter who we play. We don't know who we're playing next week, obviously. We have to wait and see. Buffalo as the second seed. If Pittsburgh wins, we play Pittsburgh. If Cleveland wins, Cleveland would play Kansas City, and we would play the winner of Tennessee and Baltimore, which takes place tomorrow. That's a very important game. So it leaves us in a position as Bills fans that we are not accustomed to. We actually get the opportunity to wait and see who we play in the second round of the playoffs. Hasn't happened in 25 years, especially as a second seed. 14-3, you add another victory onto the regular season total. We'll say the Bills are now 14-3 on the season. You like what I did there. 13-3 in the regular season, 1-0 in the playoffs. Fire away some comments in the comment section below, whether you're tuning in on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook page or whether you're tuning in on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you members of Bills Mafia. As I've said many times before, this is the best fan base in the world. It has been proven a time or two. We have been long-suffering Buffalo Bills fans, and we now are smiling ear to ear. But as I said, this game did not go without its fair share of frustrating moments. I thought the Bills had this one in the bag. Not so fast. Philip Rivers, I want to throw this out there and give credit where credit's due in a form of fashion that I always do. I always tip my cap to the opponent. I always say, let's compliment the opponent to start the show. Let's be classy. We're classy fans. We're classy individuals representing Bills Mafia, outside of the fact that we like to jump through tables. But Philip Rivers probably played in his last game today. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I would say that that's probably Philip Rivers' last game. That's the last game we'll see from number 17. And I say that because he's long in the tooth and has already had a great career, arguably a Hall of Fame career. That's a topic for another day. But Philip Rivers played some damn good football in this game. He threw some dimes in this one. He made this a very difficult contest for the Buffalo Bills, in particular for our defense. And although they have their version of 17, dare I say, our version of our 17, very reminiscent of what Philip Rivers has been these last few years. Obviously, Josh Allen's a much better athlete at the quarterback position. But in terms of how he throws the ball, how he leads his receivers, you see a lot of parallels between Allen and Rivers in that way. And, Allen's got a long way to go as far as his career goes. Rivers has had, a 17, 18-year career. Who knows if Allen will reach that, point in his career. But that was such a back and forth battle between a wily vet and a superstar that prior to this game, it was believed that, that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills have already begun contract extension negotiations, or they will begin contract extension negotiations once the playoffs is concluded, once the playoff picture is over. No matter when that ends for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen will get paid, and paid plenty of Buffalo dollar bills. Josh Allen on the day, 26 of 35, 324 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 54 yards rushing. He was the leading rusher in today's action. And, man, what a clutch performance from his wide receiver one, the X factor of this offense, the guy that has taken the league by storm as a member of the Buffalo Bills, that is Stefon Diggs. 6 catches, 128 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, a 35-yard TD, which was a beauty of a pass from Josh Allen to Stefon Diggs, pardon me. I truly feel that this season has been so special based on the fact that Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs have really been locked like this all season long. And it continued on the biggest stage, in the AFC wildcard round, in the playoffs. Our quarterback one, our wide receiver one, we're feeding off of one another. But I feel like that is stating the obvious. In this one, in this playoff matchup, in any playoff matchup, I should say, you need those extra guys to step up and play at an elite level. And the what I call hidden gems of the game. Who are the hidden gems of this Buffalo Bills offense today? Who are the guys that really stood out that, aren't the obvious names? And a player that has stood out all season long, I'm not saying he hasn't had a great year. Of course, this guy has had a phenomenal year, as have all of these players. But in particular, in this game, Gabe Davis made 4 catches for 85 yards. Those 4 catches that Gabe Davis made were arguably the most clutch plays that we had seen all game long. And not only were they clutch catches in those moments, the catches themselves were extremely difficult catches, sideline catches that are catches that veterans make in this league, not rookies. Rookies don't make catches like that. Gabe Davis made catches that Stefon Diggs has made a time or two in his career. And I thought that was fantastic for this Buffalo Bills offense. And it was a true testament to how deep this defense is, or how deep this offense is, I should say. And in the playoffs, to step up like that, to perform like that, to have not just your elite talent step up, but some of these guys that are, rookies or younger players. Gabe Davis stepped up and then some in this game. And it was truly amazing to see. I know there was only 4 catches, but 4 catches for 85 yards on clutch down and distance situations, and situations where the Bills offense was desperately needed to be kept alive. Gabe Davis kept this offense alive early in this game. And I want to, go down the quote-unquote game script for you guys. So as long as I have more hidden gems to give, which I do, I will return to that segment. But to recap this game, I would be remiss to not bring up the fact that this box score was pretty wild, okay? 7-3 in the first quarter, 7-7 in the second, okay? There are decisions in the playoffs that can make or break your team. And there's a phrase in the NFL that you can't leave points on the board, especially against a potent offense, especially in the playoffs. And the one thing I can say is that great Buffalo Bills legend quarterback, you could say, Frank Reich, did something that you'd never do as a coach, especially in the playoffs. Frank Reich left points on the board for the Indianapolis Colts. This game ended by a final score of 27-24, and there were 2 moments in this game in particular that will definitely make Frank Reich lose some sleep. 2 decisions that Reich made that were ballsy, that were very interesting. Decisions that had even the broadcast saying, why are they going for 2? Why are they making these decisions that most coaches would not make in the regular season, let alone in the playoffs? Not only did the Colts go for two and fail, they went for two in a moment that they needed just the 1 point. They put themselves further away. In total, you could say that the Colts left 5 points on the board. The opportunity to not go for two and the field goal attempt that wasn't. So, and I'm getting them a little bit mixed up here as comments come through, but getting a little distracted on that end. But Blankenship misses that 33-yard field goal, and I thought, wow, we got something here. Fourth quarter, Tyler Bass drills one from 54 yards out. He is another hidden gem in this one. Tyler Bass drills a 54-yarder on 4th and 6, straight through the uprights. Tyler Bass is literally the hottest kicker in the NFL right now, bar none. He hasn't missed a field goal since week 8, and that field goal that he missed that he attempted in week 8 was a 61-yard field goal. I was on pins and needles at that moment in the game when Tyler Bass was asked to kick that field goal on 4th and 6. I thought maybe they should be punting here. But have no fear, Tyler Bass is here. He pushed it through the uprights, and I'm thinking to myself, let's go. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. The best play of the game to me was a play that was made that not many people are going to talk about. Okay, it's going to get lost in translation. And for a player that was out last week, for a player that was out the week before, kind of towards the tail end of the game, he got hurt week 16, missed week 17. It was highly debated among Bills media members, podcasters like myself, and others on Twitter as to whether or not Cole Beasley would play. Cole Beasley returns, and he doesn't just return. He returns for 7 catches, 57 yards, a very Cole Beasley-esque stat line, and was clutch over the middle of the field, clutch on third down. In particular, Josh Allen throws at Cole Beasley towards the right sideline. Cole Beasley running forward, looking at the first down marker, dives in between 2 Indianapolis Colts defenders for the first down. That is what sets Cole Beasley apart as one of the better slot receivers in the league. The savviness that Cole Beasley has as a slot receiver is what makes him such a dynamic weapon in this offense, and any offense at that rate, whether it was in Dallas or Buffalo. Cole Beasley, a true X factor. Drive by drive, Blankenship kicked off the game for the Colts 3-0, 30-yard field goal for Blankenship. Dawson Knox catches a touchdown pass from Josh Allen that Josh Allen pushed to Dawson Knox into the end zone. That was a play that wasn't supposed to happen, I don't think. I don't know if that was rehearsed. If it was, that's even crazier, but I think that was a designed run. More on that a little bit later. That was the first touchdown of the game. Jonathan Taylor, a really tough player to stop in the National Football League right now. His season does come to an end, but it wasn't for naught, as Jonathan Taylor had a hell of a day today. 21 carries, 78 yards, a rushing touchdown, averaged only, 3.7 yards per carry, and his long was a 20-yard run. So you take that 20-yard run away, you put it at his average, and obviously he's around 58 yards taking that rush away. But I think he some would say he would finish kind of in between the 65 to 68 yard range. But 21 carries, 78 yards. Phillip Rivers in this one was 27 of 46, 309 yards and 2 touchdowns. If this is it for Phillip Rivers, as I said at the start of the show, a hell of a career for Rivers. Can we say that? I think we can. The 2 toughest weapons for Buffalo to go up against in this one, and it's something to note, because as we inch closer to this next round, and we're in the divisional round now, the Bills' inability on the defensive side of the ball, the moments of frustration that I had, were due to the fact that the Bills could not cover the tight end well. Monte Ali Cox, 4 receptions, 32 yards. Jack Doyle rules, 7 catches, 70 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Michael Pittman, a little bit of a size mismatch, a big versus a little, a time or two in this game. 5 catches for 90 yards. Those were the players that were really hurting the Buffalo Bills, and that's something to hurting the Buffalo Bills defense too. That is something to keep our eye on as we maybe play a solid tight end in Jonnu Smith, a solid tight end in Baltimore and Mark Andrews potentially. That's something to keep our eye on. There's no doubt about it. The Bills' inability in this one to cover over the middle was something that made this game very close. Matt Milano on Jack Doyle was not necessarily a great matchup for our Buffalo Bills. Nyheim Hines, he had a big run, 33-yard run, six carries, 75 yards. Bills had a tough day at the office on the defensive side of the ball. The first half, I thought the Colts actually did a phenomenal job controlling the clock, spreading the Buffalo Bills defense thin, and forcing Buffalo to cover virtually anyone underneath, bringing attention to underneath receivers like Michael Pittman, who mixed in a little bit on the outside, mixed in a little bit on the inside as well. They moved him around quite often, which left targets over the middle wide open. T.Y. Hilton, a non-factor in this game, with 2 catches and 32 yards. I believe Trey White was on him the majority of this one. I would assume so, in a true cover corner, true wide receiver, CB wide receiver matchup. But the fact is, not only did we have a playoff win for the first time in 25 years, this city is erupting right now. Regardless of COVID, people are staying in their homes. People are staying safe. Buffalo has been a very good community as far as combating this COVID-19 stuff. We've been very fair and safe. But Buffalo, and in particular Bills Mafia, has every reason to feel as if this is a truly, truly special moment for this city, for this franchise. And we're in uncharted territory, as I alluded to. What makes this so special is that it hasn't been done in such a long time, but what makes it so special is that it's this team that's doing it. This team, this version of the Buffalo Bills is a version that Bills fans have been waiting for. This exact version, not a cookie cutter version of the Buffalo Bills. This is the Buffalo Bills 2.0. 1.0, the dynasty that never was, the missing rings, whatever you want to call it, the 4 straight Super Bowls. We've heard about it. Guys like me, guys like my age, 28 years old, we've heard about it. We didn't know what it was actually like. We're experiencing that as we speak. We're experiencing what happened to this city when the Bills started playing great football. I want to start off by saying and giving this a lot of thought, okay? I am not an NFL referee. As you guys know, I am a podcaster. I have no business saying the refs are good or the refs are bad, because I'm not a ref. But I am behind a microphone, and I do have to deliver content for you guys to tune into each and every week. The refs were terrible in this game. The refs were a joke. The majority of the calls in this game did go Buffalo's way, but the one call that didn't could have spoiled the 2020 season for the Buffalo Bills. It could have ruined our season. It could have single-handedly ended our season. These are mistakes that referees cannot make. This was a play that was reviewed over and over and over again, almost on a nauseating level. And the more they reviewed it, the longer it took. It goes to what I say in combat sports, is that if the judges are taking a while to make a decision on a fight, if the fight goes 5-minute rounds in the case of a UFC main event, MMA main event, or 3 5-minute rounds, if it goes it goes the distance, whatever, boxing, combat sport, boxing, MMA, whatever you want to say, if in fact they're taking a long time, it means someone is getting screwed over. And that someone was the Buffalo Bills. They did screw us over. That was a fumble. And the fumble I'm referring to, obviously, is Zach Pascal. Rivers throws him the ball. Pascal slides to the catch, gets up to his feet, and he's stripped of the football. Granted, his knee was down, but he got back up. The referees debated whether or not Poyer or Micah Hyde had touched Pascal when his knee was down. They reviewed it time and time again. It looked to me, from my vantage point, that there was 0 players touching Zach Pascal until he got to his feet, which was when the ball was stripped out of his hands. It was a fumble. The game should have ended right then and there. We should not have had to relive the horror of watching the Indianapolis Colts possibly win this game in similar fashion to the last Buffalo Bills loss, a Hail Mary. But look no further. The same guy that was making plays with Jordan Poyer and Matt Milano on that play, Micah Hyde, he bats down that Hail Mary from Phillip Rivers, and it's probably the last pass in a very storied career by Phillip Rivers. Did he win a Super Bowl? No. Did he come close a lot? Yes. Was he a contender a lot? Yes. Did he compete each and every week? Yes, he did. For Buffalo to respond the way that they have, when their back is against the wall, granted, they made this game really close. This defense had moments where they had lapses in judgment, but the Bills responded in a big way in this game. And for us to win this nail-biter 27-24, I think this further proves not that the Bills are an illegitimate force, but that they are a legitimate force in the AFC. And I say it because these are the signature type wins that a team with youth needs in order to press forward, show hunger, grit, determination. It might sound corny, but there's always that one loss that a team goes back to. There's always also that one win that a team goes back to. This is that one win that the Bills have been searching for the last 3 years, 4 years under Sean McDermott. They finally got it. It's the signature win of the 2020 season, and that is a hot, hot take, given that the Buffalo Bills have had plenty of great wins. You could say the Pittsburgh win was a signature win. You could say that the 49ers win was a signature win. No, this game was the game that the Buffalo Bills have been preparing for the last year plus. That since the day they lost to the Houston Texans, they were playing for this game, preparing for this game. Granted, they had a lot of opponents in the meantime, but for Buffalo to get it done the way they did today, under these circumstances of battling in this game, this was a tough opponent. The Indianapolis Colts showed up. They showed up. I will give them all the credit in the world. But the Buffalo Bills have done what they've done each and every week, answered the door, and knocked the guy off the front porch. So let's get to some comments here. I see a lot of interaction here, and I love it. So let's see here. Michael Gerace, we'll start off with you, Michael. The Bass factor in full effect today. Gabe Davis and his 2 catches were just sick. Completely agree. Gabe Davis was Captain Clutch today. He only finished the day with 4 receptions, but those 4 receptions were crucial to the Buffalo Bills in this game. Frank Reich left points on the board, 27-24. Could have been 29-27. Frank Reich went for 2. Frank Reich decided not to kick a field goal and go for it. My memory is getting jogged on that, and there was so many moments in this game. And I didn't do the post-game show right after the game. I'm doing it, a couple hours after the game, but I think due to the fact that my emotions were so high in this game, for this game and after the game, that once it was over, I just had to take a deep breath and say, wow, they got it done. They got it done. Andrew Kish asks a interesting question. He says, how much of an impact in your mind does Brian Daboll's pending interviews have on his game prep for next week and further down the road? I think the question should actually be rephrased here. I don't think Brian Daboll's pending interviews have an impact on his game prep. I think Brian Daboll is a respectable enough coach that he will take these next few weeks extremely seriously if we continue to win. Obviously, we're in uncharted territory right now in the divisional round, but if we can continue to win, Brian Daboll is here to win a Super Bowl, and he's focusing on the task at hand. These interviews that are conducted by these teams, especially during COVID situations and in the day and age that we're living in, they're typically not the same type of interview process that you would normally go through as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator that is interviewing for a head coaching position. I read that Eric Bieniemy had a great interview with the Atlanta Falcons, offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, but it was mostly conducted over Zoom, where prior to all of this madness, the head coaching candidate, the desired head coaching candidate, would travel to the facility, then travel back to the facility that he works for, for the team that he works for. And it would be a little bit more time consuming. Now, I think the interview process is very different for just this season, hopefully, God willing. But Brian Daboll, and I want to talk about Brian Daboll for a minute. I have a love-hate relationship with him. This whole season, I've loved him. Today, not so much. Today, my moments of frustration I've dove into here and there, but this is one that really takes the cake for me before I get to the remaining comments and questions that you guys have. I thought that when it was 27-24, prior to the final drive of this game, I thought that the Bills would run the football. And this is where the whole notion that I've been talking about these last few weeks, they haven't had to run the football, but in a close game in the playoffs, when you're only up by 3 points, close game, 27-24, less than 2 minutes on the clock, you're trying to avoid a turnover. You're trying not to put the ball in harm's way. At least that's my thought process. You're trying to drain the clock. The easiest way to do that is to run the football. We are going empty set, just Josh Allen, no running backs next to him, spreading the defense out. Indy knew we were passing the football. They're blitzing the safety on the edge. They're bringing pressure from the edge, whether it's the safety or the corner. Josh Allen being Josh Allen, he faked out the blitzing safety. He faked out the blitzing corner, whoever it may be at that on this particular play that I'm referring to. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the program of the Indianapolis Colts in my head. I don't have the program of the Colts, locked in and knowing all the numbers like I do for the Bills. But they blitzed the DB, okay? And Josh Allen fakes one way, rolls the other way, throws it, and finds the open guy. Finds Stefon Diggs on that particular play that I'm referring to. But why? Because then shortly after, I'm thinking, why? And then shortly after that, the Bills pass again. Josh Allen gets sacked. He fumbles. The ball squirts around, and it's a 2nd and 33, 3rd and 33, or whatever the situation, 3rd and 25, something, 2nd and 33, I know it was at one point. But I'm saying to myself, why is Brian Daboll calling these plays when it's 27-24? Why are you going empty set? Why aren't you trying to control the clock on first down? If it was second down, okay, fine. If it was third down, of course. 3rd and 10, you're passing it, of course. But first down, that was frustrating. And I think that it goes to the whole point that, we haven't had much of a run game, but I'm looking at the stat sheet here, guys. Devin Singletary had 3 carries in this game. One of them was for 13 yards. It was on that drive. So you take those 13 yards away, he's got 2 carries on the day. He's got a rushing yard total that is X amount of yards more than me. And I wasn't playing today. That is just inexplicable. 2 carries for 8 yards on the day for Devin Singletary. We can't get him featured in this offense a little bit more. Well, now, Brian Daboll, now you don't have a choice because Zach Moss will be out most likely for the rest of the postseason. So the priority now is the running game is going to be different. We're going to have to attack this running game a little bit differently than we have in weeks past. We're going to have to bring out a different blocking running back. And you look at the running backs on this team, Devin Singletary, TJ Yeldon. Will we make a move there? Will we bring somebody in that wants to join a contender like we did with Kenny Stills? Maybe we do. Maybe we test the free agent waters in that regard. I don't know. Crazier things have happened. Another comment to get to is that Daniel S. is watching from an undisclosed location in the Middle East. Bills fan for life. Love your channel. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Daniel. I really appreciate the shout out. Stay safe out there. Sherry Scott, almost every game has been down to seconds. Just crazy. Damn near lost it, but wow. That's my thought process too. Damn near lost it, but holy hell. The Buffalo Bills are back in business with another big win, and we're heading into the divisional round. First playoff win in quite some time. 24 years, 1995. We'll just say that. Michael Trask says, what do you think about the play calling in the first half? I thought it was very simple. I did too. I thought the Bills in the first half, I hate to say this, But I thought the Bills in the first half looked very uninspired, very lackadaisical, very low energy. Very low energy. I thought the Bills looked very, wait for the second half. They didn't look like the Bills of these last few weeks in the first half, that's for sure. But Frank Reich's decision to go for it on 4th and goal, that was the decision that changed the entire momentum, because Buffalo gets the ball back. Frank Reich says, can the Buffalo Bills offense go 96 yards down the field? Josh Allen raised his hand, and he said, you bet your ass I can. I'm the goddamn MVP for a reason. So that's how I see that. Brent Cebulski says, I believe that was a Poyer fumble and the end of the game, but what a close game, and I'm glad they responded the way they did. That's the silver lining right there. They responded the way they did, and it couldn't have been a better win. Like, if they dreamed up this first playoff win, the way they won this one was so memorable, and it made this season and the journey that has been this season that much more special. And I think that's a big takeaway, and I think that's a very realistic takeaway from this game, is that, yeah, the Bills lost that playoff game last year to Houston. It was terrible. I wanted to cry, to be honest, after that game. Like, that game hurt. It hurts even talking about it. It hurt watching them lose to the Arizona Cardinals. That Hail Murray. But at the same time, this team hasn't been the same since, for the better. They're remembering these crushing losses, and they're using those crushing losses as motivation, just like the teams of years past. They lose one Super Bowl, they go back. They lose another Super Bowl, they go back. They lose another Super Bowl, they go back. Very, very similar in that regard. A resilient group that truly believes in the best thing that has ever happened to this team in the last 25 years, and that is Sean McDermott. You can take your pick between Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. Which one has been the best, has been better for this team? Obviously, it's a team effort. McBean has been a dynamic duo. But Sean McDermott has been the right coach for this team since day one. He predates the arrival of Brandon Beane. So I'm going with McDermott in that regard. Eric Williamson says, do you have a preferred opponent in the next round for the Bills? It's a really great question. I don't have a preferred opponent. Well, no. You know what, Eric? I'm going to answer your question. Of course I'm going to answer your question. I do have a preferred opponent. I'm hoping that Pittsburgh beats the Cleveland Browns. I would prefer to see the Bills play Cleveland in the next round. I prefer the Bills to play Pittsburgh in the next round because we beat Pittsburgh. We match up well with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh tries to spread things out when we have a secondary that's pretty deep. People give Levi Wallace a lot of crap. People give Teron Johnson a lot of crap. Those guys have stepped up a time or two for the Buffalo Bills this season. So I think that's the matchup I want. That's the preferred opponent. And if the Steelers do pull this off tomorrow, that is who we play next week. We play the highest seed. If Cleveland beats the Steelers, Cleveland would play Kansas City. We would play the winner of Baltimore or Tennessee. I'm a little bit nervous about playing Tennessee out of those two teams. I know Baltimore is on a little bit of a hot streak, and I know Lamar Jackson is a dynamic player, but Derrick Henry scares the crap out of me in terms of what he's been able to do all season long. I think there is a case to be made that Derrick Henry is the league's most valuable player. Where would the Titans be without Derrick Henry right now? I don't think they'd be anywhere, to be honest. I think they're a good team, but I'm propping up Derrick Henry and saying he's just that good. He's been that good for this team. So for the Titans, I should say. So that's how I see that. This was a really awesome season, and for the fact that the simple fact that it gets to continue is really what brings just a smile to my face, because each and every week, these last 6-7 weeks, they've been like the best 6-7 weeks that I've had covering this team. And it's literally one not done. You guys see it. You guys know that this is the real deal. This team is the real deal. And whether their season ends next week or not, whether their season ends against Baltimore or Tennessee or Pittsburgh or whoever, one of those three teams who we're playing next, I think that this season will be one that I'll remember for the rest of my life. This was a really fun season, in every which way. Mike Dre says, if we play and beat the Steelers next week, we will be called the old QB killers. We made one quarterback run out of the AFC East. We made Tom Brady run out of the AFC East. Yeah, if we play and beat. Yeah, I got that there, Mike there. So don't mind the typo. This podcast will be available as well. You guys are tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Greatly appreciate the subscribers on the audio side of things. The show has seen massive growth over the last 4 or 5 months, really, since football season has started. What better season to continue the growth of this show than this one? I can't think of a single season that has been bigger for me to cover this team and interact with you guys each and every week. Ken Zintel with the take of the night. Josh Allen is carrying this team on his back. O-line horrid, defense horrid. Allen is MVP all day. O-line horrid. I think Indy brought different stunt pressures that Buffalo hasn't seen all season long. I think Indy's secondary was covering fairly well. I think our defense, I can't say they played their best today. I can't say that. I mean, we had the game in hand, and the Colts drove right down the field to get us down, or to get us up only 3. We're up 27-17 or 16. We're riding high, 27-16, and our defense is just got gashed on that next drive. That really took the wind out of my sails, and that's what had me nervous for the rest of this game. So I truly believe that this has been an awesome. I mean, to come on here after these games and recap these particular games with this particular team, I've loved every minute of it. I hope it gets to continue. I hope this isn't the last Thomas Take Sports Podcast Bills post-game show of the season, because I've enjoyed these a lot. This is my favorite version of my show that I create for you guys, and it's been great interacting with you guys. I've had guests on to preview the games, guests on to recap the games. I'm going to have another guest this Wednesday to recap the game, actually probably Friday, to preview and recap the game. And I can't wait to have him on. He's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. And that's it, guys. 27-24. Bills win their first playoff game in 25 years. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know I've enjoyed creating the show for you guys. Sean McDermott, to me, Coach of the Year. Brandon Beane, Executive of the Year. And Josh Allen is the real MVP. Get that guy paid. Get that guy his money. Back up the Brinks truck for Josh Allen. Get it done, Terry Pagula. Get it done, Kim Pagula. I want to see Josh Allen here for a long, long time. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Check it out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Facebook. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Follow me at Ryan Thomas Take on Twitter. Been very interactive with Bills Mafia members on Twitter all season long as well. So I always enjoy hearing from any member of Bills Mafia. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of these games. And I look forward to next week. We'll find out when we're playing next week. And I can't wait for this game. Cannot wait. This is going to be awesome. I'm just in such, I'm in shock, to be honest. I am in shock of this season and the fact that under this year, this crazy year that we've all lived, that the silver lining in this is that the Buffalo Bills were a contender in this NFL season. And they've been a contender, and they are a contender, and that they are legitimate. They are a legitimate force in the AFC. Man, what a time to be alive right now. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and go Bills.